All right, welcome back, everybody. We had a wonderful weekend. I'm sure you guys can hear me. Let's see, 1 second. All right, you guys should be able to hear me, right? All right. Well, we're going to cover the indices first here. Look at the dollar index. Then we'll go look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatever altcoins you guys want to look at. All right. So the indices here. Let's see. I'm delayed a bit, but they're up about 1/3%. Yeah, monthly stochastics crossing up on the indices. That's a pretty significant time frame to be looking at, right? The monthly chart with a confirmed stochastic RSI cross up. We're clearly heading a lot higher. The audio is choppy. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh, it's probably because of my cell phone. Is that better? I noticed like every single time I have my cell phone like near my microphone, I get that choppy stuff going on. Some frequencies and stuff like that passing through. All right. Hopefully that's better. All right. So the indices here looking pretty strong, pretty healthy here on the monthly time frame. Clear monthly breakout for the S&P and ongoing here. In terms of fib extensions, we can just kind of plot from our recent swing high to low. Our local Fibonacci extension here to about 66, 65, and then maybe even the golden mean ratio 72, 65 in some time. These are some major levels that we'd be looking at here on the S&P. The NASDAQ here, probably, pretty similar with the monthly time frames, also probably all pointing up. Almost the exact same scenario here with the monthly MACD cross up and stochastic RSI cross up. Obviously the indices stay overbought for quite some time. So, looking at the monthly RSI isn't necessarily always going to be the best thing to look at, but we'll definitely continue to monitor it. So NASDAQ here, again, 24,300 for the NASDAQ first major fib extension, on up to, the golden mean ratio is up here at 27,000 and change. So yeah, I think our first major fib here, this 24.3 region, looks like a region we might see get tagged here in the future, in the not so distant future, I should say. Over the course of the next few months, we could probably be tagging that. All right. Bitcoin here, take a look at that. Bitcoin futures opening up 2.44%, 120,735. No real surprise there if the indices look good. Bitcoin's just a liquidity sensitive asset. So what we really want to be looking at here is I have the pi cycle high-low indicator on this chart, and so I kind of wanted to look at this with you guys this way, just to give you another perspective on it. I think this is kind of interesting to look at. So the BTC high long moving average is, I've tagged it up here, it's about 178K. And you can see even in prior cycles, we somewhat we ride above it here, but as soon as you start getting deviation outside the white moving average there, even in 2017, even though we rode it for quite some time, okay, we rode it for less time here, and I think this time we'll probably ride it for even less time potentially. I think as soon as we start getting above it and deviating outside of the moving average is when we're probably going to be topping out, or close to topping out. So that's something to keep in mind. We're not even close to that year there yet, though. So there's not really anything really to worry about, I would say, until we do start doing that. Okay. Cool. So that's Bitcoin. ETH is really the one we want to be paying attention to right now with that ETH Bitcoin trend reversal, ratio trend reversal. And that's kind of what we want to be paying attention to. And so we're basically right at a major resistance level here for Ethereum. And yeah, it looks pretty solid. I think, like, again, high time frames here look really good. Your 2 week stochastics are just kind of in separation mode right now. 2 week RSI sitting around 65. Our weekly count a little bit extended here. We're on 73 on the weekly, but we can continue to be overbought on the weekly time frame. So could we get pullback here? Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. We maybe get a pullback there right at the resistance level. But with all that high time frame momentum, it's possible that we just kind of sit up here before we actually break out. Because, like, look at your real high time frame, like monthly chart. Okay, it's like a big wind up. So I'd be looking for, maybe a bit of draw to like 3,300 region before we actually break this, maybe sometime next month. And I think we'll be off to the races into basically price discovery. 4,700 region is a break of that is price discovery. So it's like basically right there. I wouldn't say we really had a much of a pullback at all. We actually just hammered on the weekly here, but we don't see when you get hammer candles towards the tops of ranges like that. I don't really like seeing those, even though it's not necessarily a bad thing to see a long wick like that. I like to see those long wicks and hammer candles at bottoms of trends than towards tops of trends. Either way, I'm not bearish on Ethereum. It's just we need to make a weekly candle close of basically above this $4,000 region to go and take out this liquidity up here at 4,800 to go into price discovery. All right. And the high time frame suggests that is going to happen here soon. All right. So just stay patient. All right. We'll look at Strax. If this will populate. Yeah, not really the best weekly candle there. Big rejection at 7 cents, like long wick. Yeah, not the best candle on this. But it's fine as long as you don't get kind of follow through on that rejection and like that sell pressure, right? Yeah, this thing does sucks. Yeah, all right. Well, the weekly momentum is still ticked up, but that price action last week was not so good. You would have really liked to see, at least holding of like 6 cents or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, no bearish engulfing candle or anything, but dude, that is straight up rejection candle. That just got sold into. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. For now, not the best close there, sir. All right. Anything else you guys want to look at? There's 4 people on the stream. It's amazing. Yeah, we'll look at NVIDIA. It's getting up there, 70 on the weekly. On HA, is approaching 74 region. It's yeah, it's obviously in price discovery. We looked at ETH. We'll look at tether dominance total too, and we'll look at the DXY as well. We'll look at XRP, sure. All right, so NVIDIA from swing out of low is about to tag a major fib extension. Yeah, that 180 region, I think, could serve as a local, or what is this here? Let's see. We got a wick down there? Not really. All right. Well, we'll use candle bodies then. So we're coming right into this 1272 fib extension right now, which should act as a local resistance, this region here. All right. Fibonacci's basically act as potential levels. I would say maybe if we do get a pullback here, we come back down to like the 150 region and try to pull into here before we get to maybe eventually this 211 region or 19200 region. Very, very probable we're going to see at least a $200 NVIDIA at this point. So, yeah, we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance and the rest of those that you asked about. We'll look at XRP as well. Sure. All right. So XRP pulling back here a little bit this week. It's fine. I mean, you had a nice bull flag breakout there. 7-year pennant that we all knew about and we're talking about for quite some time that resolved itself back here. And yeah, so like the $8.50 to $14 level, if we get to the gold to mean ratio, it's that $25 region for XRP eventually. Yeah, so maybe some more consolidation here before continuation on XRP. Could sit up here for a bit. We made some pretty big impulses here. It could be tagging, two and a quarter again potentially. We could do something like this where we come back down to test that, make a higher low than this low, and then we get the move out. Something like that. That wouldn't surprise me actually if that happened on XRP. Okay, yeah, I'll look at Snapchat real quick. Yeah, I like Snap down here actually. Very low risk, especially if the Nasdaq's going to continue higher. Well, this is New York Stock Exchange, but anyways, yeah. So to me, this looks like a Wyckoff accumulation type of schematic where you have the spring right here coming out of the range, and your momentum on this chart looks pretty good. Right, you got the monthly stochastic RSI crossing up. That's very significant. So this could take some months to resolve, right? Last time you got a monthly stochastic RSI cross was April of 2023 or May of 23, where you confirmed a buy signal, and you ran for 7-8 months on that momentum. It didn't really surmount to much on the price, but if you did take this trade down here in May, you were able to capture about 110% move off that momentum. Okay, I mean, not a big deal for. I guess it is. I guess it is kind of a big deal. 100% move is, pretty big move for a stock. But you look at the NVIDIA chart, you're like, well, why am I even bothering with Snapchat? But still, those monthly momentum waves are pretty good. And looking at your long-term trend line here, you're trying to break this resistance. This to me looks like if you do successfully break this, you're going right back up to the top of the range, and maybe higher because that monthly stochastic is coming up here, and I would say you're pretty close to the same lows or around the same lows you were during this time period here. But your RSI is a bit higher, which is interesting. So you have a higher RSI with the same low on price. You got a bullish divergence here on the monthly RSI as well. So that to me is telling me probably a potential break of this range. You tested it once, twice. This would be your third test at a top of a range. So we'll see when it gets up there, but I would say it's likely that it actually will break the range this time around. But you don't really know until that happens, right? But yeah, so the trade, if you were to take the Snapchat trade, which I would still say is okay to take, even just to the top of the range. I mean, you're not really getting 3-to-1 on it if you really set your stop loss below this range. I guess if you go to this wick low here, because this was like probably a capitulation, you know, probably pretty tight there, like around there. And this, it's still about 3.5-to-1, which isn't bad for a range trade. So not bad there on Snapchat. And this could end up resolving a lot higher, but you know, we don't know if this is going to break its range. Cool. Bitcoin dominance. I actually put a chart out on TradingView on that. You guys should all check this one out. I said, is Bitcoin dominance topping out? And then we talked about rotation of capital into altcoins, Ethereum, Solana, mid-cap alts. You know, increased retail speculation and trading volume across DeFi and meme coins. So, like, you know, maybe drop a like or a comment here. That'd be great, guys. I'll appreciate that on TradingView. I'll drop the link for that. Yeah, so Bitcoin dominance, definitely in a long-term channel here that's probably about to be broken. Your monthly momentum here is clearly showing bearish divergence. Okay, so that means to me that it's likely that Bitcoin dominance is going to drop significantly, and your altcoins are going to start outperforming Bitcoin, so long as Tether dominance is actually continuing down, which we'll look at next, which I believe is on the high time frame anyway, the monthly time frame. And here's your monthly. Okay, so you got the monthly stochastic RSI pointing straight down here, which is great. We're going to see lots of up price action here in the coming months in this market. All right, so and what I'm really looking at here on Tether, if you really look at this this structure, okay, if you look at it on a log scale, this is kind of what it looks like to me. So you have these tops here, and then you have this bottom here, which looked like to me like a massive rising wedge pattern. So it could end up resolving itself back to, I mean, I don't think it's going to go back to 0.5%, but that would be insane. You know, but all these levels here, I would be looking at for Tether dominance. We don't know how long, we don't know how significant of a drop we're going to see. But keep in mind, you know, where Bitcoin gets to. Once it gets to that 175 region, take a look at where Bitcoin dominance is and kind of, you know, make that decision to start probably scaling out of things. Okay. And so that's what I'll be doing. I suggest a lot of you guys do the same. But yeah, this just looks like this looks like a range here. We got a high and a lower high, and now we're seeing continuation to the downside. So this will be the third attempt at breaking this support. All right. And the more times you test the support, the more likely it is to break it. And I think on this next push down, we could see, you know, Tether dominance go down to 2.52%, because if you look at the ranges here, like this is what it's very clear what these ranges are. It's a big move down here for Tether dominance. We're going to see a big jump here in altcoins, and should be a pretty explosive move across the market here for the crypto market. Looks very good. I gotta say, it looks very good here. All right. We'll look at the DXY as well. I think the DXY is going to just obviously also continue down, especially with, you know, rate cuts on the horizon here. I don't see how that's going to benefit the dollar. It's just going to continue to weaken it and devalue it. We are at a major trend line here of support. on the monthly time frame. It is trying to bounce here. I mean, as you would, hope it would do that at a support. It depends on how you look at this. This looks like, yeah, okay. It's just still sitting on the trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of support. You're still on the support. So the dollar index is sitting on a support, but I think it is possible, actually. It is possible that if this support does hold, that we could get a test of 100 or something to retest this level. It's going to act as a major resistance, though, because look how many times it acted as a support and you finally broke it. It's going to act as hard resistance here, and I think that's what's going to actually end up sending us a lot further down to break that long-term trend here for the dollar. It really just looks pretty bad, I gotta say. Because this is the monthly, but if you go to like the quarterly, you can see that the stochastics are still kind of pointing straight down here, and you still have room. Okay, we're bouncing a bit here at the 46, but this has room to drop on the quarterly too. It could go all the way down to bearish control zone territory. And if you really go to the high time from like the 6-month chart, I know that's kind of far out, but you got a 6-month stochastic RSI cross down, man. That's telling you where this dollar is going. Nowhere good. Way down. Okay. So when's the cycle going to end? Yeah, that's a good question. If we're following what our usual 4-year cycles, okay, then it should end sometime in Q4. But what I'm also really paying attention to, aside from that pi cycle indicator around that 178 region, maybe the 200 region, if it deviates out, I do expect deviation above that. Okay. What I'm also really looking at is total 3 excluding stablecoins. Okay. And so this is what I think is something that you guys should all be paying attention to as well. Is kind of this trend line here on total 3. Okay. And once we end up breaking that, you could see I even have these levels plotted: 1.48 trillion and 2.7 trillion. Wherever we end up making contact with this trend line, I think will be the top for the altcoin market. All right. And so I think we got some time, and I think we got some parabolic moves to be had here. Whether we end in the end of this year or we run into Q1 or something, that is yet to be determined. I'm not really so much looking at the timing, more so where we're at on the chart. And I guess timing is important a bit because we want to maybe pay attention to that, that October, November time period. But if they're just going to start cutting rates, I think that's going to have an immediate impact on risk assets. Like, we're probably going to really see an exuberant reaction to that, because I don't really think that's priced in just yet. Because everyone's like, oh, well, what happens if they cut in July? What happens if they cut here? What happens if they cut there? I think once they start cutting rates, it's more devaluation of the dollar. And so that's really going to catalyze, really risky assets to go up in value too. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. I could look at total 3 ES with the pi cycle on as well. I think that maybe that's interesting to look at. We should look at that. So that's putting us somewhere around 1.2 trillion, I guess, which really isn't that big of a move. We could get deviation like we did here, where we claim it as support and just run it up. But yeah, we'll see how that ends up panning out. We do have some high time frame momentum on our side. I'm looking at like the $1.3 trillion region, and maybe on up to the gold to mean ratio, that $2 trillion region. Okay. So, I mean, typically after halvings, you can see, like our last halving here, we if you just count the May top, I'm not even counting the December top, but I guess we could. That was about 488 days after halving in 2021. So if we calculate 488 days, yeah, that puts us sometime in September. So keep that in mind if we're copying the exact same movement. I don't think we will be copying the exact same movement, but it'll be similar. This top was around 488 days also. I guess that's actually really interesting. So yeah, it could just be September. It could just be September when that tops out. So a big push here quickly over the next month here is possible. Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling this is going to extend a little bit further than September. But I'm not here calling cycle tops, man. I have no idea where this thing's going to top out. I'm just going to see where it goes and how it goes. Looks like we got some room here on the RSI. I think we got room. I mean, once we start, crossing these 72 RSI regions, it's probably time to scale out of everything. All right, we're almost there. 70 is that level we haven't breached. So I think once we start breaching 70, we're going to start to see parabolic movements in this market, like crazy parabolic movements. Okay, because this is the end of the cycle. So I'm not sure when it's going to end. I don't really get how anyone could really just be like, you know what? It's going to top on September 12th, 2025. I have no idea, man. Yeah. The monthly. You could pay attention to the weekly also, because once the weekly starts to cross 70, that's also when you want to start selling assets as well. But the monthly is going to kind of tell you if you have more room to go also. If there's confluence there, then, that should be a magnified move, right? And you can see the 2-week here is still at 60. We started reaching 75s. We've been making lower highs on the RSI this whole cycle. On altcoins, they've been weak, right? Because, well, Bitcoin's been leading. So the highest RSI we saw this cycle so far was in 80. Okay. And yeah, man, anything above this 75 region, I think it's just safe to just start de-risking and selling stuff. I mean, sure, you can hang on till we get to the 80 levels or the 90 levels. I think 90 levels you want to be completely out. There's no way these things go. I mean, okay. 2017 we got to 100 on the RSI. That is nuts. Okay. If we start clearing 80, yeah, it looks like we can get into the 90s maybe on the RSI on the total 3 here. So just pay attention to that. Okay. This is the overall market. This isn't your specific altcoin. So what you want to do is look at your specific altcoin and set your alerts up on those yourself, because every altcoin is going to do different things. Okay. Different structures, different patterns, all that stuff. Cool. Well, it's looking pretty good, guys. The last push in this market should be pretty strong. So stay grounded. You guys got any other assets you guys want to look at tonight? DNA. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. You love this stock. Flap. Okay, man. Yeah, right at long-term resistance there. Weekly RSI's got room. You're in RSI breakout 61 on the RSI. Looks pretty good on the RSI. Your momentum up here is about, as long as you stay in the overbought territory, I think you're fine. So you want to like zoom then to like the 2-week or 3-week or monthly, which all actually point up. So I think that this is definitely got some room to run then. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Looks low risk down here. It doesn't really do that much trading volume. It's an $817 million market cap. That's interesting. Ginkgo Bioworks Holdings. All right. It looks like the dragon. Looks like a dragon pattern. You could be targeting, the 618 or the 786 fib extension on a dragon longer term. And so, you could clearly see once you break this zone, you're probably going to go tag, $50 this level right here. It's very clear on the chart that this would be probably your level, which is a nice trade, right? And once you break that zone, between that $47 and $100 region, there's not really much up here. It's just straight down price action, but see how it goes. I think it's got some momentum on its side. So yeah, looks good. See how your monthly close goes. You're right at the breakout level here. You could draw down a bit before breaking out, maybe going sideways a bit. Just pay attention. You got some earnings coming up here, looks like. Yeah, that could be your catalyst to actually break this out. So all the charts all point up, man. So I think it looks like a long-term swing trade opportunity for sure. It looks good. Look at all this volume too. See all this? That's accumulation. That's what's happening here. More so than before. This has just been straight down, and then you got this nice range here. You've been in here for over a year. So something's going on here. Like they're accumulating this asset for a reason. Okay. Looks good. Very nice flap. Cool. Looking pretty solid across the board. For those folks that took the BTCS trade with our entry around $3, okay, we got a bit of a pullback here. That was expected. Ethereum pulled back. I think that this might even continue to pull back a bit more, maybe into the 480 levels here, potentially. We got very extended very quickly with bearish divergence here on the daily time frame. And then our weekly also got into some heat, 75. That was the time to actually sell some stuff. We actually ended up rolling some of that into Bitfarms. But I think on the high time frame, like the monthly RSI, I mean, this thing has got a lot of room to run. But we'll see about how this plays out because, this is going to be affected by the Ethereum price. I think that they've got a lot of ETH on their balance sheet, and you can kind of see this parabolic movement coming into play here. I'm looking at that $30 level there as a major, probably take profit level for this, maybe this cycle. Yeah, you got that break right there and just broke out, retested and rallied. And, it's a pretty nice structure, I would say overall. You're a bit overbought here on the weekly time frame, but so what? Maybe you go sideways a bit, $4 level, reset those oscillators, and off you go. I think, that high time frame, that monthly chart is telling you some things, right? Yeah, and then Bitfarms, I still think this is very low risk down here. Look at that month. Look at that 2-week bull div you got. This thing's going to rocket, man. This looks great. This looks fantastic. Right? You got whatever, maybe like a pennant or a triangle going on here. But this, from the second low here to the top of the triangle, is about a 13x. That's crazy. And we're not even at the breakout zone, but we're just trading the double bottom that we got here with like a 110 entry or something. So yeah, I mean, at minimum, it should at least trade up to the trend line, which is about 250. But I think a lot higher on this thing. Look at that high time frame. Look at that monthly chart too. just reset on the monthly. Damn, man, that looks nuts. Bullish divergence on your stochastic RSI on the monthly time frame is a recipe for major momentum, major breakout potential. I would obviously be targeting the top, way top of this range. Okay, I'm not expecting price discovery on something like this, but you never know. That can happen. But $1.10 entry and you swing this to 960, that's great. That's like 9x return. That's beautiful. What else do you really want? Oh yeah, okay. Everyone wants 100x, sure. But come on, you gotta be a little bit real about it. Like that seems plausible because we've been there before. And then you got you got your earnings coming up here in 2 weeks too. I think that will probably be the break on this structure. So we'll just chill. I don't think there's anything else but to do other than to just hold this asset for now. Okay. Larger market cap, but how's B, M, and R looking? Okay, yeah, Bitmain. I would be cautious, man. You're already at a 73 on the monthly. I'm not saying this doesn't go higher. I don't see value. I personally probably wouldn't buy it. That's just me. That RSI is already. I'm not saying that this thing can't go higher. It probably most certainly will go higher. But I will not be buying it. I will not be buying it. Yeah, I mean, look at this 2-month candle. Does that look good to you? I mean, okay, we got another month left on that candle, but look at even the monthly. The monthly is going to close that, bro. That is a nasty reversal candle on high volume too. That is people taking profit and exiting that thing. I'm good. No, thank you. Yikes. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that. That looks pretty bad. Long wick. That smells like reversal all over it. Just saying. Got heated too quick, man. That thing made a stupid move, man. It went from like $4 a share to $200 a share in like a month. Are you kidding me? Did a 40x in a month. Yeah, I don't see value in something like that up there right now. Yeah, I bet. I bet. I was looking at I was looking at this stock, but I don't think I'm going to buy it either. But this looks, I don't like these wicks, so I'm probably not. I'm going to stay away from that. But I think Mogo owns some crypto. This company, yeah, like this looks decent. Look at the monthly. I just don't like this wick right now. But see how the next few days close here on this. This could be okay. This is a small cap, man. $44 million market cap. High risk for sure. Galaxy is the I would say the blue chip, man, for ETH treasuries is Galaxy Digital. Yeah, I would be looking for this break here. I think that's going to happen. Look at the monthly. I mean, yeah, I get it, dude. You're already at 73 on the RSI. Yeah, just watch this range, man. If this range breaks, I think a lot higher. This can go a lot higher. That's a major range to break too. So it looks like a massive ascending triangle. Okay. 10x move, so probably about a 5x on a swing. You probably don't do the whole measured move. Probably to like $100, like a 3-4x. Look at that volume. That's key. Yeah, I think that this is the major to own. It's $11 billion market cap today, so that looks pretty solid. All right, enough of the Bitcoin miners. Let's look at some other stuff. This stock was looking pretty interesting to me. Abcelera Biologics. I have no idea what this company does. It doesn't really matter that much. They're a $1.5 billion market cap, and it looks like they're just coming out of their downtrend here. Look at that volume coming in. We got a nice breakout here on the monthly. And yeah, you could be running up to anywhere from the 382 to the 618 before a drawdown. It's like a falling wedge breakout. Pretty typical stuff. So anywhere from like $7 to $18, and then pull back, make a higher low somewhere, and then maybe eventually resolve yourself up to that top of the wedge, $70, $80. Well, looks pretty solid to me. Look at this monthly RSI sitting down here at a 38. The weekly's probably in heat, so you might want to wait for a pullback on this. This thing's already at 80 on the RSI, but volume confirming this breakout. I would look for that retest down to maybe the $2 level for then a continuation. That's what I would look for on something like that. ADCT, I think we gave this call a while ago. This one to me also looks pretty juicy still down here with that double bottom that came in, that higher low, right? That was pretty nice. And you broke it, you back tested, you might see some consolidation for a bit. But I think eventually what happens is you break this neckline up here, and then you're looking at about a 400% move on a breakout. It's a $325 million market cap, so it's got room to grow. Yeah, maybe up to like $20, man. This region up here looks like it could do that. You got like a pretty massive type of butterfly going on here. That looks nice. That looks really nice. And that monthly, again, crossing up, like long-term swing trade type stuff. You might get some sideways here, pullback right here. That's fine. Just look for a higher low that we end up confirming outside this trend line to maybe take a swing trade on this. What else you guys want to look at? SLI been performing pretty well for everybody. This was identified a while ago. Went sideways for about a year before it decided to start moving with the rest of the energy market. Long-term channel up. It's like pretty much textbook perfect on the chart. You got this nice breakout here too. That is pretty nice. Looks like a descending broadening formation. So what I'm thinking is this ends up tagging about 1150 top of that range eventually to pattern complete. This could take some time, whatever. It could do something like this eventually get there. So anything else you guys want to look at tonight? Well, all right. If there's nothing else to look at, well, we'll catch you guys next week. I'm probably going to start putting a little bit more content on here as we approach the ending part of this cycle here to make sure everybody catches everything they need to do here. Because it's going to happen quick, and you guys all definitely want to make sure you guys take the proper precautions. That's all. All right. All right. Everyone have a good week. Catch you guys next week on a live stream. I might, like I said, I'm going to probably put out some content here this week for you guys. Talk about maybe some other assets. All right. Talk to you guys later.